matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.
Welcome to episode 29 of the Outer Voices podcast. As always, this is Keem and Esme.
Yay!
So first thing first, I want to apologize for last week. Last week was just a lot of things happening. Esme started work, and that's been driving. Man, you can. just be grateful she's alive, guys.
Yeah.
And as for me, last week I moved to Brooklyn, and between the move and getting adjusted to the area, which I'm still not adjusted to because, oh my God, I'm in fucking Brooklyn.
Yay, you're in Brooklyn.
we just had too much stuff on our plates last week, so we had to skip last week's show.
Yeah, plus I spent all day Saturday out on the streets protesting, so there's that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Esme spent Saturday protesting.
Oh my God, so many protests. It was good.
Spent Saturday at Coney Island.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
I'm jealous because, I mean, Coney Island's fun. Protesting is fighting the fight is where I want to be most of the time.
Yep.
And speaking of fighting a good fight, oh hell, we say this every week, but good Lord, the news is just crazy. Like, I don't know what time traveler went back in time and fucked up the timeline, but Jesus Christ. I mean, we got Trump doing his best to literally pick the country apart one by one. Like, I am not unconvinced that he is not literally trying to, like, kill us all.
Yeah. Did you see that meme that was going around Facebook earlier this week and like last week that was Kim Jong-un? And it was call off the strikes, boys. Trump's doing a great job destroying America all on his own.
Right.
I'm just like, oh Lordy. That's true, actually. That's true.
It's insane. And we have of course we have Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And Hurricane Harvey's hitting right now with no head of FEMA.
Yeah.
No head of what's the other one?
NOAA. No.
Yeah, NOAA. So yeah, guys, it's not a great time to be an American, to say the least. Which brings us on into our new segment, which is going to keep going, guys. Esme, would you like to go first?
I can totally go first. So anybody who's paying any attention to anything in the world at all right now, I'm sure has heard that Trump, in all of his wisdom and... Whoa.
What's up?
Sorry, sorry about that. I opened up a thing that automatically played. Did you hear any of that?
I did not.
Okay. Yeah, it just started randomly playing at me. That was strange. But like I was saying, anybody who is paying any attention at all, I'm sure has heard that Trump, in all of his wisdom and good decision making and making choices that are good for the American people, has decided to pardon Joe Arpaio, sheriff in Phoenix, Arizona, former sheriff in Phoenix, Arizona, who was convicted recently of contempt of court for continuing to racially profile Latinx people after being ordered by a court to stop doing that. Continued to do so, was convicted of contempt of court, and Trump went and pardoned him because gotta keep it all in the white supremacist family, I think. I think that was his reason, right? Where he was like, Joe's my buddy, so I'm gonna pardon him. I think that was the official reason.
He's fighting. He's keeping his power base. You know,
yes.
they're all hyped up right now anyway.
Yes.
So you know, he's being the hero the white supremacists need. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, sorry, go.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say he's like a neo-Nazi Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Except stupid.
I mean, that you're saying that Batman wasn't stupid. I mean, like
Batman is the
Batman was rich.
Batman's the world. Yeah, but see, Batman, you know, in most cases, tried to do the right thing.
Yeah, doesn't mean he wasn't dumb.
Right.
In any case, but no, this thing with Arpaio, like I can't even understand how he could justify pardoning somebody who is so, like, this is a nightmare. This is a PR nightmare. Like, there's only one kind of person who's happy that Joe Arpaio was pardoned. And that's fucking white supremacists, right? This is a man who for the last nearly 30 years, right, has been sheriff in Phoenix, Arizona, has been accused, has explicitly, like, racially profiled Latinx people, has worked hand in hand with ICE to go over and above what local like sheriff's offices are supposed to do, legally supposed to do to help with immigrations and did you know that when his officers would arrest people who were undocumented, they would contact ICE. If ICE didn't want to deal with that person at that time, they would go straight to the Border Patrol. The sheriff's office in Phoenix, Arizona worked directly with the Border Patrol if ICE didn't want to take that case on, right? This is a man whose solution a dozen years ago and a little bit less, whose solution to housing undocumented immigrants in who are going to go into trial to be deported, his solution for housing them was like a tent city in the desert outside of Phoenix, right? In the Phoenix heat, just out in the desert with no air conditioning, no real shelter, just a tent indefinitely, right? Undocumented people who are arrested are held indefinitely until trial. Like there's no limit to how long they can be held. This man has been accused of treating people absolutely horrifically, of going above and beyond what is even like humane and reasonable in dealing with undocumented people. And the only kind of people who would be okay with him being pardoned for something that he was convicted of. Like, he did it. He admitted that he did it. He admitted that he did it, right? There is no question as to whether or not he was illegally racially, his officers, he was ordering his officers in the sheriff's department to illegally profile people who looked like they might be undocumented Mexicans and Central and South American people. Right. This was absolutely illegal. He admits that he did it. It's documented. He was convicted of it. The only people who are okay with this pardon are people who support the racial profiling of people. People who are white supremacists. People who don't think that Mexican immigrants should be given the chance to live and work in America legally. Right? These are the people who are happy with this.
Right.
People who are okay with a sheriff sidestepping the law in order to do, like,
not even sidestepping the law, breaking the law.
People who are okay, the people who are okay with this are people who are okay with the president of the United States undercutting the judicial process.
Yeah, because he's like, the law isn't the law anymore.
No.
He is law. He is, and like Trump is doing his damnedest to show that he is the law in this country, not the Constitution, not the laws that we live by that protect society. In most cases, protect society. No, he is the law. Like, and he is going out of his way to show that what the courts say don't matter. Yep. The convictions don't matter. He is untouchable. He can do and pardon and do what he wants because he is not president. He is the king. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and you got to think, like, the timing, it comes on the heels of course, Charlottesville. Mm-hmm. Also, literally the same day he officially signed the executive order to ban trans people from the military, despite every military person under him saying, we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is like these actions. These are not the actions of someone trying to help. These are not the actions of someone trying to govern. These are the actions of someone trying to prove that they're in charge. That it doesn't matter what anybody else says, no matter what the law says, no matter what anybody, like, there's no morality but his.
Yeah.
There's no law but his. This is what we're dealing with now. We have someone that's literally adopted the mindset of a tyrant.
Adopted the mindset of? Has he ever not had the mindset of a tyrant?
You know, I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
I don't know his personal life. So, I'm just saying, as president, he has adopted the mindset of a tyrant.
Yeah.
And this tyrant now has scores of people who are behind him, just like any cult of personality.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's, once again, look at Charlottesville. Look at the Trump rally in Arizona. And was it Phoenix? I think it was Phoenix.
Yeah, it was Phoenix.
Week after week, day after day, we keep getting more and more examples, and I don't know why the American people haven't. Okay, and we realize this is out of control. Like, there is no understanding that. Like, this is completely out of control. This is not acceptable.
Yeah.
Most of the American public has come out and said that, despite everything. And and despite what what we see on TV and stuff, I wouldn't hesitate to say that most people, 75% of people, are going, this is not okay.
No, there's numbers. There's numbers on it right now. Trump's official approval rating is something like 31%.
Okay, then I'm. Oh no,
you're a little optimistic.
Only slightly, but if I remember correctly, it actually dropped a little bit. It was at 31, now it's at 28.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, either way, the majority of Americans do not approve of what's happening, but for some reason we're just taking it on the chin. Just like, okay, we can't do anything, but that's not true. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I'm getting into the topic segment.
Yeah. No. Do your news. Do your news, Carl.
Yeah. So my news actually comes out of the same thing. So during the rally in Arizona, there was a guy, and he's probably my favorite new media personality now because they made him a media personality in this last week. He was holding a Blacks for Trump sign.
Oh, I saw this, but I didn't read anything about it.
And also, I think he had a shirt on that said, Republicans, like Trump isn't racist or something.
Yeah.
Like something
like
to like, yeah. So, which caused people to, start doing some digging on his background. And this guy has possibly the most insane background of anyone I've ever seen. So if you look him up, his name is Maurice Woodside, which is the name he goes by now. I don't actually think that's his real name.
I mean, let's have an argument about what a real name actually is, but
yeah, but look, when it comes to this guy, that's something else, But if you look him up, you most likely find him by the name Michael the Black Man.
Which is descriptive.
Yes. And if you go on YouTube, he has more than a few videos of his, let's just go, unique views. I'm going to go down and just read you some of the few things. Also, if you go to the, he has some websites on his shirt. If you go on those websites, blacksfortrump2020.com and gods2.com, you get linked to a conspiracy theory website. And
somehow that does not surprise me.
So some of his beliefs include Hillary Clinton created the Islamic State along with the criminal gang MS-13. He also believes, and he goes on over and over again about it, that white people weren't actually slave masters.
Okay.
That the real slave masters were Cherokee Indians, and white people actually liberated black people from the Cherokees.
Okay.
And that everything we learned in history about the Civil War and all that stuff was actually made up.
I mean,
it was made up.
A lot of that is true.
But yeah, true. But it's made up to make the white man look bad.
As opposed to my version, which is that most of what we learn about the Civil War is made up to make the white man look good.
Right. He also believes that the Democrats and the Cherokee Indians are working together to destroy black people and white people in America. The Cherokee Indians. I'm quoting from what he said, not Native Americans, of course. Just normal people would say Native Americans, but Cherokee Indians.
I mean, no, Indian is totally an acceptable usage right now. Like most Native American groups have come out and said that no, we're okay being called Indian. That's fine.
Actually, didn't know that. I'm just going from some like personal people I know.
I mean, so look, no, like that's the thing. Like your mileage may vary, but a lot of large groups have come out and said, we're not going to be upset if you call us Indians. That's fine.
All right.
Although I typically go with Native Or the new one that is awesome is indigenous.
Yeah, I like indigenous, actually.
Because that speaks directly to the colonization that happened.
Well, the colonization didn't actually happen according to this guy. It was, yeah, it's
Okay.
all just made up. You know? Anyway,
apparently, yes. All made up.
This guy has scored, like, he has been very popular in the GOP. Actually,
What? No way.
he's made it into almost every major GOP legislators like rally during their campaigning. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and all the greats.
Well, of course they love him because they can point to him and say, look, black people like us. We must not be racist. Because that's how that works,
Yeah.
right? If one black person thinks you're awesome, that means that you're not racist.
Yeah, he's the black friend, you know.
Yeah.
But your black friend is insane. Like, literally insane.
Doesn't matter. Evidence, man. Evidence.
But it goes on. He actually also used to be involved in a cult.
What? I am shocked.
It was an African American supremacist cult called the Temple of Love.
But that sounds so nice.
Yeah, it was not.
Love is great, don't you know?
The leader of the cult was actually arrested for murder, and this guy was actually arrested with him for conspiracy to commit murder.
Well, shit.
He was acquitted, and he still Michael the Black Man still says that the movement was this cult was nonviolent and it was all made up. But he does apologize for his former views that all white people were evil and the devil. But now he's on the right path, you know. Mm-hmm. I kept doing more and more research on this guy. Listened to watched some of his videos and had a good old time. This guy, he also claimed. I'm going to throw out some more claims that he said. He said that, Charlottesville and all like the white supremacist stuff and the KKK, they're all being controlled by Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I've heard that one too.
He swears that he swears that Obama was trying to assassinate him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just that important.
Yes. Well, he's speaking the truth, don't you know? The media will do the media and politicians will do anything to silence somebody who's speaking the truth, don't you know?
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, Trump and the Republican Party, but more specifically Trump, because even the Republicans are especially the ones that speak against our glorious leader, are being controlled by the Cherokees. And it's interesting. He calls, of course, the evil Cherokees, but he refers to white people as the great white Gentile emancipators. And I'm confused as to specifically why he's going with Gentiles. I haven't seen his views on the Jews, but I'm sure they're interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't somehow make Cherokee Indians Jewish. Like, just throwing some weirdness out there. But this is the guy that's on our TVs right now. This is the Blacks for Trump guy. This is the guy that's the picture of the black people who vote for Trump.
Yeah.
There we go. If that if that tells you anything, if that tells you anything about black people who vote for Trump, that tells you anything about Trump supporters at all. This is what you're dealing with here.
Yeah.
This kind of like insane, because it's insanity. This insane, feverish fanaticism that this man seems to attract. Like, so back to Batman.
Yeah.
Because
everything comes back to comic books with you.
It does. But in the comics, the Joker, one of the things about the Joker is he has a sway over people who are severely mentally ill. He attracts them. He gets them as henchmen. He gets them to follow him. He gets them to do horrendous things. But that's one of the things about the Joker. That's part of the things that made him evil and insane, is that he has to sway over these types of people. And then I look at Trump.
Yeah.
Who has a very similar sway over these types of people.
Yep.
Like, I recently saw this other video of this woman who was holding her baby, talking about how great Trump was and how there needs to be a genocide for people of color, against people of color, because that's the only way to protect the white people and the white babies that are growing up.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that. Sorry, I interrupted you.
And like, no, it's fine. Like, I want to say timeline, but our lives are being flooded with this view of these people. And it's a view ranging from, these people are, for lack of a better word, insane.
Yeah.
They're insane and dangerous. And then on the other hand, you also get the view, especially with the Charlottesville rally, these were pretty well-off people.
Yeah.
These were guys that they were surprised when they got home and didn't have jobs, because they thought they were fine. They had the money to take off work and come do this. A lot of them had met with prominent figures and prominent senators all over the place. Like, these were not, as like we see depicted, like saw depicted in the past, like poor and insane people. These are rich and insane people. Or these are middle class and insane people.
Yeah.
And like, this is the world we live in. Like, this is what life has become. We're in a stranglehold. Like, the American public is in a stranglehold from people who are dangerous and murderous and insane. Not insane in a these people need help sort of way. Insane in a these people could literally do anything to anyone type of way. And the president keeps legitimizing these people over and over and over again. Which brings me to what we're going to talk about in our topic segment, which is what's happening right now with these alt-right losers. And I'm calling them losers. Like, fuck it. I'm calling them losers. Because if you are marching for Nazis who lost and the Confederacy who lost, you are, in fact, a loser. But we're going to have a just discussion over this, what's happening. And these our new segments was a nice segue into those. So,
because that's what's happening in the world.
and it's not stopping, guys. It's not stopping. So we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's been talking about it. Now we're going to talk about it. So before we get into the topic segment, we're going to have some music, as always.
Woo.
We're gonna this week, since we weren't able to actually go out and book somebody for the show because we've been doing so much, we're gonna have some music from the Living Room Leftists, who are always there to provide us with good tunes in between our segments and our opening and closings. So
Yes.
there you go. Here's some music from the Living Room Leftists.
Isn't much that I feel I need, a solid soul in the blood I bleed, and with a little girl in back my spouse, all it wants is a private house. I don't care for fancy things like 2-drip cars and the precious rings, and children cry for the ones who have a real big heart and a father's grace, and a father's grace, and a father's grace, and a father's grace. I don't mean to seem like I care about material things like social status. I just want 4 walls and a Adobe slabs for the girls. I don't mean to seem like I care about material things like social status. I just want 4 walls and Adobe slabs for the girls. Isn't much that I feel I need, a solid soul and blood I bleed, and with a little girl who like my spouse, all it wants is a proper house. I don't care for fancy things like 2-drip cars or the precious rings, and children cry for the ones who have a real big heart and a father's grace, and a father's grace, and a father's grace, and a father's grace. I don't mean to seem like I care about material things like social status. I just want 4 walls and Adobe slabs for the girls. I don't mean to seem like I care about material things like a social status. I just want 4 walls and Adobe slabs for the girls.
Welcome back to our topic segment of the day, of the week
Yeah.
and day. So a lot has happened, of course, since our last show. We've had the Charlottesville rallies and all the horrible things that went on there. And we wanted to give a general discussion. We're going to have a general discussion over these alt-right assholes. I'm not going to be polite on it. I'm not going to be polite in this discussion.
What? You're not going to be polite to Nazis?
Yeah, like, okay, and that starts me right there. That's going to start me right there. We're gonna hit this shit hot. We're going in hot.
Whew. Yeah, we are. Goddamn.
How? Okay, when I was growing up, we called neo-Nazis neo-Nazis. And
Yeah,
we
so
knew
did
they
we.
were bad. When I was growing up, we called the Klan, and we knew they were bad. When when I was growing up, we called white supremacists, and we knew they were bad. Even the most racist white person I knew, who was out and out racist, would never call themselves a white supremacist. They would never call themselves a Klan member. They would never call themselves a neo-Nazi because they knew that those people were bad. You can, pardon my language, you can say you hate niggas all day long, but you didn't hate niggas like they hated niggas. You hated Tyrone, but you didn't want to kill Tyrone.
Or if you did, you didn't talk about it in polite company.
Exactly. Hell, you don't even talk about it like you didn't even talk about it with your like family or like even like not so close friends. Like that was something that was very, very personal, very, very private. But somehow within the last year, and I wonder what caused this. If you can see my hands right now, they're going insane. But in the past year, and you usually can't track when a term comes into use. Usually terms build to come in use.
Yeah.
But this term came out literally within like a week. It was like Trump is in, I think he was still running when the phrase came out. Like Trump is running for president, he might win. Okay, the people behind him, they want a platform. Well, let's call them the alt-right. And in a sweeping motion, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, and every other fucked up group suddenly became legitimate. They were not bad anymore. They suddenly became just misunderstood. And they deserve a chance to speak their minds, to plead their case in America.
Oh, dear God. I'm going to punch somebody.
But the problem is, these people have already pleaded their case in America. And guess what? They lost.
There was a whole war about it and everything.
There were a couple wars about it.
Yep.
The Civil War, World War II. This is all. We've already decided this. This is not something that needs to be redecided.
Are you sure?
Yes. 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 This is something. This is insane. And like even old school Klan members, this is confusing to them because, man, I remember last year when the Klan wore hoods because guess what? You didn't want to be found out.
Yep.
You knew that what you were doing, even if you believed it, you knew it wasn't right. You wasn't right, but you knew it was wrong, at least considered wrong by society.
Yeah. It was something that there would be consequences for.
Exactly. But now, after being legitimized by the presidency, they don't care anymore. But and it's so funny. It's hilarious to me how they don't care anymore. Like, we're legitimate now. We're gonna have our say, and we're gonna do this and do that. And then they go home and their employer sees on the news that, hey, you were at a white supremacist rally. You were chanting for genocide. You said you wanted to kill the Jews and the black people. You're fired because we can't have you in our business. And they freak out like, I don't know. Why would you do this? I just protested peacefully. And I just wanted to get my beliefs out there. And you're oppressing me. You just promoted genocide, you dick.
That was a pretty good imitation there, by the way.
These are the same people same people online is like, oh, these liberal snowflakes and cucks. Oh, they love to say cucks. We back on cucks again.
Yep.
They're always whining and crying. But when you face the consequences to your actions, you immediately start crying.
I don't think that it's legitimate. I think that a lot of them are using it as a manipulation tactic.
Right, they're trying to paint themselves as victims.
Yes.
And it's part of what they view as we are a legitimate platform now. If we're a legitimate platform, that means we are victims.
Yeah.
That means that that society is against us. They're trying to occupy space that oppressed groups occupy.
Yeah.
But the difference is, one, you're not really an oppressed group. You're an extremist. You're an extremist arm of the controlling populace.
Yeah.
Like, we live in a white supremacist America.
Yeah.
Where white people are in charge. White people have been in charge. And for at least the foreseeable future, white people will continue to be in charge.
Yeah.
You're an extremist group or a set of extremist groups in that society. That's like literally going like, let's say you're in a kingdom and you're the king's brother and you have all the accoutrement and all the things of royalty. And every once in a while you go out and kill someone. And the king goes, hey, you can't do that because it's not good to kill people and you're going to get punished for it. And then that king's brother going, how dare you oppress me? As he sips wine from a golden cup. Like, you're not oppressed. You're not an oppressed minority. And yes, I will say this, yes, in most cases, society is against you. But it's not because you're oppressed, it's because you're an asshole.
Here's the thing, though, is I think that it's more insidious than what you just painted, right? Like, I think that the most naive among these white supremacist groups really do think that they are actually being oppressed and blah, blah, blah. But I think that the people who are putting that rhetoric out there as a tool to be used are doing it to manipulate the American public, and they're winning. Every time a fucking neoliberal person defends these people's right to free speech because it's in the Constitution, these white supremacists, neo-Nazis, KKK are winning because they have convinced liberals to defend them, to defend their hate speech on the grounds of free speech. They have convinced us that that's a thing. Right.
And let's back this up for a minute, because I want to touch on something you just said, which we're going to have a actual show on this eventually.
Yeah.
Probably soon again.
Yeah.
The argument of free speech and defending free speech. In the Constitution, free speech, like the protections of free speech, is the government cannot hinder your freedom of speech.
Yeah.
That means if you want to say something, a government official working on behalf of the U.S. government cannot stop you. You can say what you want when it comes to the government.
Yeah.
That does not mean the rest of society has to listen to your bullshit. That does not mean the American public cannot hold you accountable for what you're saying. The Constitution protects you from the government.
Yeah.
That's what that protection is. So everyone going, we have to protect free speech. When someone like criticizes these assholes and go, we have to protect their right to speak. No, we don't. The government has to.
Yeah.
I can punch him in the fucking mouth, even though that's assault.
But see,
in most cases.
Here's the thing though that is sort of what I was getting at, right? Which is that liberals are defending this under the grounds of it being like speech, right? But where then does it cross the line from speech into incitement of violence? And how do we now appropriately react to actual incitement of violence at the hands of these people?
I've had this discussion with a particular person who is gone now. They disappeared, thankfully.
Yeah.
Because it was causing me a lot of stress. But
is she gone now? I unfollowed her.
Yes, she's gone.
Okay. I unfollowed her. I didn't know that she was gone.
Yeah, luckily. But I had a discussion with someone, and I put it to him like this: if you were out and someone convinced someone else to shoot you, when they went to court, the person that shot you would go to jail for murder, and the person who convinced them to shoot you would go to jail for conspiracy to commit. If you tell someone to do something, if you tell someone to do a crime and they do the crime, you will also get in trouble.
Yeah.
If you tell someone to do a crime and they start to do the crime, like if you tell someone, hey, go kill this person, and they try to kill this person and don't succeed, you are also still guilty of a crime because you told that person to do it. When you are a alt-right person, neo-Nazi fuckwit, and you say, we need to go off and commit genocide. We need to go out and kill black people and Jewish people and Mexicans and gays and trans and the whole thing. And somebody goes out and does it, you have committed a crime. And in that case, we want to talk about protections of free speech. That is not protected.
And yet this rolling over and playing the victim and free speech and blah, blah, blah that we hear out of that whole section of society, white supremacist section of society, explicitly, blatantly white supremacists, has convinced nice, like moderate liberals that it is protected. That is acceptable speech, that is free speech.
The greatest weapon of this this combined alt-right movement, the greatest weapon of white supremacy, the greatest weapon of white supremacists are moderate liberals.
Yes.
Quote unquote. It's the liberals who should be going, hey, this isn't right. We should not be allowing this, going, no, we have to allow this. Because it shouldn't. Like, and I hope there's some moderate liberals listening to this. There probably are, if anyone listens to this, Um,
No, I think most of the people who listen to this are pretty fucking radical progressives. Actually, I don't know very many nice moderate liberals anymore.
but let's break it down a bit. Let's break it down a little bit. If someone came to you and threatened to kill you, they threatened to kill you. They had the gun, threatened to kill you. Would you go to the police? Yes, you would. If they posed a credible threat to you, you would go to the police. If you thought they posed a credible threat to you, you'd go to the police. You wouldn't say, well, they can threaten me because they have free speech. No, you'd go to the police.
Right.
But yet you sit here, and when people are posing a credible threat to thousands of people, thousands, when the lives of so many people are being threatened openly, and actions are being thousands. I said thousands of thousands.
I would go and say millions.
Well, yeah, true. That's still
Sorry. I need to stop interrupting I need to stop interrupting your rhetoric. Sorry.
Sorry. But yeah, millions of people.
Thank you.
Are being threatened, and actions are being taken. Like, this isn't even. This poses a credible threat. No, people are being killed. People are being murdered. This has gone beyond just saying something, stating your beliefs. These are calls to action, and people are acting. This is beyond the realm of free speech. This is in the realm of criminal action.
Yeah.
And we've seen this over and over. We've seen this over and over again. Like, the government, when cults get to a point where what they're saying threatens human life and there's actions being taken, that cult is shut down. That is not protected. And it shouldn't be protected. If you're protecting, if you quote unquote protecting free speech over protecting human life, then you are just as bad as the white supremacists. You're not some peacekeeping person. You're just enabling the people who are murdering people. You're putting a gun in the hands of children and expecting them not to shoot. So moderate liberals, get your shit together. Either get your shit together, or go join the rest of them. That's what I'm. That's my line to you right now. Either get your shit together and stand up and say, you know what, probably should not be defending these people, or go join them, because you can't stand in the middle. You can say you're standing in the middle, but you're not.
Yeah.
But sorry.
I don't. What are you apologizing for?
I'm hot.
Yeah, good. World needs that right now.
God. Oh my God, there are so many other things I wanted to say. That I still want to say.
Say 'em, we have time.
You got anything? Yeah, I want to give you a chance to say something.
No, you go ahead. I'll jump in.
Okay. Back on the moderate liberals things. And something that's been coming up, the whole, I've seen so many people who are advocating quote unquote progressives, or and on the left who are advocating doing nothing. Not defending these people, but just doing nothing. Not confronting this, just letting it go. Ignoring it. As if that will fix something. I don't get the mindset of let's just ignore it until it goes away because they just want attention. Oh, they're gonna get attention anyway.
Yeah.
There's nothing you're gonna do that's gonna stop them from not getting attention.
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah.
I mean, okay, so as someone who works with young people, like, that argument makes a certain amount of sense to me because that's kind of how some individuals work, right? Like, they're just acting out and they just want any kind of attention. And if you deny them that attention, they'll eventually settle down. Some individuals work that way, so I can see where that argument comes from. But at the same time, right, like, these people are operating through like dragging up the worst kinds of fear that exists in the minds of white Americans and amplifying it and playing on it and twisting it, right? And because we're afraid to talk about it, it's that much easier for them to manipulate it, right? We can't.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it's not considered okay to just openly talk about your internal biases. And so then these people are able to play on those unspoken biases and twist that into something that now somebody feels like they should legitimately be afraid, right? They're able to take this unconscious bias that we have against Black people, which, hate to break it to y'all, I don't know if you know, you cannot grow up in America without absorbing some level of internal bias against Black people. Sorry, that's not how life works.
And I'm gonna I'll add a little something to that. That applies to every ethnicity in America.
Yes,
including Black people. You cannot grow up in America without some bias against Black people.
Yes,
including if you're Black.
Yes, but now these white supremacist groups are able to get inside. They put out that rhetoric. They're really sneaky. I don't know if you guys know. They put out that rhetoric and they insert seeds of fear into these white people. And you see it in these interviews that we've been hearing that have been coming up on Facebook recently with these the people from Charlottesville, the KKK leaders, the neo-Nazi leaders, these white supremacists, where they go on and appear, and I'm sure that they do, legitimately believe that doing X, Y, or Z to prevent violence against Black people, to equality, all this stuff, they legitimately believe that they and their families will be substantially harmed by reducing by breaking down these white supremacist systems that exist in our country. They are in legitimate fear for their own quality of life.
Right.
And these groups, if we don't address them, these white supremacist groups, if we don't address them, if we don't meet them head on, if we don't call them out again and again and again and again, if we don't face them head on, they're going to continue sneaking around to how we got to the point where we are now. They're going to continue sneaking around in places on the internet and inserting seeds of fear into people's minds and twisting people's unexamined biases into things that are really, really dark and really, really harmful and really and turn is effectively radicalizing people, right? Just like
right.
ISIS does to Muslim teenagers, right? Radicalizing people and recruiting them to their cause in these really, really sneaky ways, right? Especially now with the internet, that's extremely easy to do. They've found the places. You know where one of the main breeding grounds for this movement was over the last handful of years?
Probably Reddit
And 4chan. Specifically, what groups?
Uh, I don't know, pole.
Men's rights activism.
Oh yeah, of course.
Men's rights
Those
activism and the red pill groups, right? To where they're finding people who are already primed to actively discriminate against people, and they're radicalizing them even further and twisting them and pulling them into their cause, inserting those seeds of fear, making them legitimately believe that by making this country a better, safer place for Black people, for gay people, for trans people, for Latinx people, for Muslim people, that is going to make it a more dangerous place for white people, for straight people, for men, right?
With living in the information age, they're all. You got to remember they're also they're getting like some of the actual statistics of this country is becoming less white.
Mm-hmm.
Like just natural progression of things. More people of there's more people coming in of other ethnicities. There is more mixing.
Yeah.
Because the world is like we live in a global world now. Like everyone is in touch with everyone. So when you've been taught that white people have the power and white people should be in charge, and then you get the knowledge that there's less of us now. There's going to continue being less of us. So not only are there going to be less of us, but these people who have been under our thumb, who we've kept under our thumb, and keeping them under our thumb makes our life what it is. But these people are demanding equity.
Yeah.
They're demanding to have that boot lifted. They're demanding to be treated like regular people. These guys are not just seeing like something happen. They're not just being like radicalized by ideas. What they see extinction.
Yes.
And they're staring extinction in the face, and they're fighting in their minds, they're fighting their hardest to keep from being wiped out. And just like that video of the woman we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
She was and is convinced that white people in general are going to be wiped out. That there won't be white people in America. And since whiteness is so equated to being American, when white people go and when whiteness goes, so does America.
Yeah.
And thus Trump.
Yeah.
Who is going to make America great again.
I don't really understand that argument. Like, I know that that's the argument that they are thinking, and I know that that's where they're coming from, but I don't get that, because that belief, the belief that white people are going to go extinct somehow, right, is so firmly rooted in like in the idea that race is something essential, and like that it's something like it's such like a separation. Like I don't understand that argument at all, right?
Like even more so, as I said, whiteness is equated to being American. Even more so, whiteness is equated to being human.
Yeah.
So in their minds, it's not just whiteness is being wiped out. It's humanity is being wiped out.
Right. It's the idea that there's something so different about people whose skin is a different color than yours that makes them less human. And I don't understand. I can't wrap my brain around that as a reality.
This is despite This is despite all the proof in the world that that isn't true.
Yeah.
It's common. It should be common knowledge. It's pretty much taught everywhere. Oh my God. It's pretty much taught in the basis of classes in junior high, in elementary school, in most places in America, that race is not something that really differentiates you. It literally, the characteristics of quote unquote race is just where your ancestors lived in regards to the sun.
Yeah.
The physical characteristics of race is location to around the equator, and environment.
Yeah.
If you're in a place that had a lot of sun, you probably have darker skin. If you're in a place if your ancestors were in a place that didn't have a lot of sun, you probably don't have dark skin.
Yeah.
Like everything. Oh, well, your ancestors were in a place that required a lot of moving, a lot of running. Well, you can probably have you probably can run a little faster. Or your lung capacity is greater because your ancestors lived somewhere where there wasn't a lot of oxygen and you needed to get a lot.
Yeah.
Like these things, we know that this isn't something that's debated anymore. We know these things. But people still are stuck on the idea that somehow the color of your skin, your physical features somehow make you less human.
Yeah.
Or more human.
Yeah. Well, not less or more human, but human or not in some of these.
Right.
In some of the rhetoric that I've heard in these videos, right? Did you see the one, there was the one woman who's a black Latinx journalist, went and talked to the leader, one of the local KKK leaders, and he was basically said, "This is the first time we've ever had a one of whatever you are here." And she goes, "I'm a black Latina." And he goes, "Well, whatever, it's all the same. You're a mongrel to me." I'm like, no, like you're speaking to a human being who happens to look different from you and speak a little differently and is from a different part of the world.
It's the insanity behind it all is the claim of superiority. I always think, in what ways are you superior? Now, 150 years ago, there was a lot of pseudoscience out there that people claimed, oh, well, this makes people superior, inferior. And then we proved all that wrong.
Yeah.
Every single bit of it. All wrong.
Yeah.
And so the claim becomes, so you are defending whiteness. You are defending white superiority. What makes you superior? Are you smarter? Well, that's not the case, because there are plenty of people of all ethnicities, all backgrounds, who are smarter than you. Are you physically superior? Well, I got a lot of black guys in the NBA and NFL and every fucking sport that would prove you otherwise. So you're not mentally superior. You're not physically superior. How are you superior? What ways are you superior? Is your thinking superior? Like, not like mental capacities, but your outlook superior? Probably not. So what you got? What is your argument for superiority? What makes your whiteness superior, other than your claim that your whiteness is superior. Like, what do you have? I've been asking this question. I've been asking this question when I see these alt-right rallies and stuff. What are you defending? I don't. Give me what you are defending. And I've seen people say what they're defending, but what they're defending doesn't make any sense because all it takes is a few sentences to show that it's not there. It's not real.
Yeah.
You're defending a farce. You're defending something that's imagined. And when confronted that it's imagined, in most cases they can't handle it. One of my favorite things is a lot of these people, especially when they say white purity and stuff, they like to throw in the very far north European countries as their models.
Nordic.
Scandinavian, that's Nordic. Nordic is what I was looking for. They like to throw in the Nordic countries as their this is what their idealism is. Like, look at these countries, it's all white people, and there's barely any crime, and everybody's healthy. And they even would like to throw in the Japanese, which is hilarious to me. The Japanese, look how peaceful their country is. Let's forget about World War II. But look at how peaceful they are. And look at how homogenous they are. They stayed with their own kind, and they're peaceful, and there's barely any crime, and they have a superior culture because of it. This is what I like to throw around. One, they never take into account the problems these societies have, because every society has problems.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the Nordic countries, they're wanting people from other countries to come live there to add genetic variation to their society. Because if you don't have genetic variation, you cannot continue to produce viable offspring. You can't keep mating with the same types of people.
Yeah.
Because all those genetic problems that everyone has, they're going to keep being reproduced until they're dominant. And then you're going to have children that are not going to be able to live. So you need genetic variation. You need it. Societies need it. And some of these Nordic countries are begging people from other countries to come in and provide them genetic variation. Japan is dealing with a population crisis, not an overpopulation, but the fact that their population is in steep decline for very similar reasons. So, like I said, these people ignore the problem these societies have because they're so homogenous. And they also ignore the good things these societies have is not because they're homogenous, it's because of the other steps they've implemented in their societies to get those things.
Mm-hmm.
The better education system, no crime, is because they put laws in place. They structured their government differently. It has nothing to do with the color of their skin. It has nothing to do with their genetics. It is because people put the time in to figure out what was wrong and fix it.
Yep. Everybody in those Nordic countries that's also healthy is because they have socialized medicine. Everyone gets healthcare. Everyone gets healthcare.
So, but it makes the point. what I don't. My issue is I don't know what the alt-right is fighting for, because anything they could be fighting for doesn't make sense. And the only thing that I get, I think it's stupid, but I get, is the imagined idea that you are facing extinction.
Yeah. Right. They're not fighting for real things. They are fighting because people who are more manipulative than them have figured out how to play their fears. This is America, Keem. Somebody's profiting off of this bullshit. It must be somehow. Everything comes back down to somebody making money. I am sure. But the people who are out here in these rallies, they're out there. They're not out there because of logic. They're out there because of fear.
Right.
Somebody has convinced them that they have something to be afraid of. And so now they are going to fight like hell to make sure that this thing that they're afraid of doesn't happen. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. They are afraid of it and they don't want it to come true. So they're going to fight like hell.
And they're going to fight like hell to destroy everyone else.
Yes.
Because at this point, it's not just black people, Jewish people, gays, lesbians. They are afraid of everyone else, and they want to, at this point, wipe out everyone else.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to something. One of the final things that I want to talk about for a minute, and I brought it up a couple times, on the regards of whether it's okay to punch a Nazi. And we've stated this earlier in the show, but we've had a war to decide it.
Yes.
And yes, and I'm gonna let y'all know, there's a Captain America poster in my apartment right now. I got a whole bunch of Captain America shirts. Captain America is my favorite superhero. It's always been my favorite superhero. Know what Captain America does? Not currently, because there's some bullshit going on right now where he's an actual Nazi, but let's forget about that. I actually have some thoughts about that on Marvel actually doing that to show how corrupted because Captain America is the spirit of America, quote unquote, and how corrupted the current spirit of America is, where even to the point that as we've let this stuff creep in and entrench itself so deeply within our society that even the spirit of America is now a Nazi. But that to the side, Captain America is my favorite superhero. And Captain America's whole thing is he punches Nazis in the face. Very first Captain America comic shows him punching Hitler in the face. These people are threatening lives.
Yeah.
These people, and here's the thing, they always say, oh, they're protesting peacefully. No, they're not. They're not. The threat of violence is violence. I'm going to put that out there right now. The threat of violence is a violent act. If you threaten to kill someone, then you have committed a crime. If you threaten to kill someone, then you have committed a violent act. These people advocate genocide. These people advocate violent acts, and they are committing violent acts. In this country, in most cases, when someone commits a violent act against you, you are entitled to what? Self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
On the thing I posed earlier, if someone came to you, put a gun to your head, or someone came to you and threatened you and said they were going to kill you, you would defend yourself. You would not let them murder you. And that, by law, is self-defense. In regards to Nazis and white supremacists, these are people threatening to kill you. They are threatening violence against you. And in a lot of cases, they commit acts of violence, like physical acts, not just threats, but they go on to commit physical violence against you and people like you. There's no, at that point, it's self-defense. You're defending yourself because these people are trying to hurt you. They are trying to hurt you. They're not innocent people trying to get their point across. One of the things that I've seen so many times were from Germans and even Jews during the beginning of the Holocaust and World War II, when the Nazis were rising to power. And the thing they said they regretted the most, the thing that will stain them, even though they weren't a part of the Holocaust, they didn't, kill anyone or whatever. But the thing that stains their souls most is that they saw these things happening. They saw these people advocating genocide, and they did nothing.
Yeah.
They did not fight. They watched it escalate. They stood back and they did nothing. They did not fight. They did not defend themselves. They let it happen because they thought, oh, it's just a thing. Oh, they're just, saying this stuff and they're just getting what they're out there. And then by the time they were ready to do anything, it was already too late and millions of people died.
Yeah.
And we are facing the same thing right now in this country. We are at a turning point in which we are given the choice of standing up and fighting now or letting it go and people will die. This is how that ends. You fight them now or you will fight them later. But if you fight them later, more will die.
Yep.
This is where this ends. There is no like side path. There is no, if we just let them go and they'll work themselves out, and no. There is no, well, we can just hold on to the point where we can retake the White House through voting and blah blah blah. If this keeps up, the next election, even if you retake the White House, those people are going to be insisting they're going to kill people. This is not a let's wait it out thing. Because if you wait it out, it's going to end in disaster. So we have to fight now. We have to counter protest when these people go and do this stupid shit now. And when they start threatening you, punch them in the face.
Yeah.
Defend yourself. Don't let them overtake you, and don't let them overtake us. Because the fact of the matter is, if they overtake us, that's it. History repeats itself. I'm a historian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trained to recognize patterns in history. These things happen in patterns. Esme, are you dying? Please don't die. But yes, these things happen in pattern. People always say, well, we can change history. That hasn't been something that happens very often. Patterns in history don't really change. Being peaceful, like being peaceful, quote unquote, against people who are being violent against you usually doesn't end well for those who are peaceful.
Yeah.
Not confronting oppression doesn't end well for the oppressed. Not fighting against someone trying to kill you probably is not going to end well for you.
Remaining quiet in a situation where someone is being oppressed tells the person being oppressed that no one is on their side, and it tells the oppressor that you are on their side.
Exactly.
That's what your silence means. Your silence means that the oppressed person has no support and the oppressor believes that you agree with them.
There is no middle ground.
Right.
There's no such thing as a middle ground. As much as we want to say, like, stand in the middle and let people do what they do or whatever, there is no middle ground in this situation, in this scenario.
Nope.
Stop pretending like it is. Fight or join the people who are doing these terrible things.
Pick a side.
That's your options. That's your options. And not picking an option, not picking a side, is picking a side.
Yep.
So, is there anything else you would like to add?
Nah.
So I think that's going to end this topic segment for today. In the future, we're going to touch on some of these things more in depth, probably with some guests. But like I said, today was just really us getting this off our chests. And I've been getting this off my chest for a while.
Yeah. We both have been yelling about this for weeks.
But now it's recorded and someone can hear it. And spread it around.
Yes.
Because, as much as we want listeners and stuff, blah, 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 I am not one to just, hey, you need to spread this around, blah, blah, blah. But this show in particular, I feel like it needs to be shared. Because there are some people out there right now that need to hear this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there right now that need to hear this. So, anybody listening, please share. If you want to, you can put where the topic segment starts so people can hear it just like that if you want to. But please share. Mm-hmm. Facebook, Twitter, Jesus. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram? I don't know the social media shit. But share it. Please. If you didn't share any of our other episodes, share this one.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to end our topic segment. And we're going to move on to something that's much happier.
Yay!
Something that I won't be angry about. Esme's Sex Segment for the week.
Yay!
After some music from Living Room Leftists.
Thanks, Living Room Leftists.
Close your eyes, lean back, remember the time it takes this long. That's true about lots of things. Things take time. Things take a while. You could count them if you want to.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Thanks again to the Living Room Leftists for being awesome and reliable and letting us use your music because you're great and you make good music. So today in our sex segment, I am going to be telling you all about how great strap-on sex is. And I can feel...
Snap.
Oh, snap.
Strap.
No, with the puns. No puns.
Yes, with the puns.
No puns. No puns. Anyway, so, strap-ons. Everybody knows what a strap-on is. Yes? Keem,
Yes.
verify, as a straight man, verify for me that
I
strap-ons.
have seen a strap-on both in video and in person. Yes.
Right. So, strap-on is a dildo that is strapped to your body. Surprise. Traditionally, like the most common visual thing that people think of is a dildo strapped to a. The most common visual that people think of is a dildo strapped to an attractive cis woman, but which is common, right? Like that's a common thing. It's a way for a partner without a biological penis to be the penetrative partner in sex, right? But there's so many other things. There are so many interesting things that you can do with strap-ons, Keem. Do you know this?
I do not, because I have not had a lot of experience with strap-ons.
We should change that.
That's a different conversation.
It is. So, correct me if I'm wrong. The most common thing that people think of when they think of strap-on sex is pegging. Am I right there?
Well, I would say that would be the second thing on
Okay.
like lesbians would be the first.
Okay. But
And then
yes.
pegging.
But yes. So those are both options. So there's lots of different things out there now that you can use for that, right? You can use basically any dildo, almost any dildo that's made anymore, as long as it has a base on it, is going to be compatible with some kind of harness, right? As long as it's got a flared base that fits through the O-ring of the harness, or so that it'll hold the dildo up, you could basically use that. As a thing. There's a few other styles of dildo that are used for strap-on sex. Notably, what they typically call a strapless strap-on. Which
Interesting.
Yes. Well, you've seen my purple one.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, it's a dual-ended toy that's got like a regular, roughly phallic end on one side, and then some kind of curve with like a bulb or a thing of some kind that's designed to go inside the person who's wearing the strap-on, typically somebody with a vagina, right? That's designed to go inside the vagina of the person who's wearing the strap-on to provide stimulation, with the intention of it being like you not having to use a strap, like an actual harness with it, right? Of any kind. You're supposed to supposedly be able to like hold it in place with the strength of your vagina muscles alone, which for some people that works. Those of you who have tried these devices and have not had any success using them as quote unquote strapless strap-ons, don't worry. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just so many variations in the way bodies are shaped, in the tone of the muscles, in the shape of the bulb that is going inside of you. There are so many possible variations that the chances of any one of these working out that way with your anatomy is pretty slim anyway. Plus, depending on what kind of positions you're using with gravity, it just makes it...
Everybody doesn't have Wonder Woman's vagina, basically.
Right. And it's not even just a strength issue. Like, strength is only one piece of that, right? It's also your anatomy. Like, depending on how your pubic bone sits, depending on the angle of your vagina, depending on all sorts of different things. Like, this may or may not ever work for you. I personally have never gotten mine to work without a strap. No, that's not true. That's not true. I've never been able to get it to work during actual, like, active penetrative sex, but I have had some really fun times using it without a strap during, like, with it being manipulated manually, right? So I have gotten off with manual manipulation of the thing, but not during actual penetrative sex. So in any case, like, don't worry. Don't worry. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, try a different position. If it still doesn't work, put a strap, like, put a harness on. Like, don't worry about it. That is not even a thing. That's not even a thing. So that's one thing that exists out there. When you're dealing with a regular dildo, the number one complaint is that it kind of hurts if you get it in the wrong spot. Also, it doesn't provide a ton of stimulation. Although you can do some manipulation depending on how your harness is. You can get that base positioned right on your clit, and that might feel good. But a lot of dildos have very hard bases, so that can be uncomfortable, especially during really vigorous sex. Vixen has a really cool innovation where they have a soft, squishy base on some of their dildos that are designed specifically for strap-on sex. So that's cool. It makes it a lot more comfortable, if not completely pleasurable. Like, some people have got it to where that feels really good and can even, like, use that to get themselves off during strap-on sex. Other people, it just doesn't line up with their anatomy. But either way, it makes it way more comfortable. There's also a device from Silly, S-I-L-L-I, I believe, called the Silly Saddle. No, that's not the company's name, but it's called the Silly Saddle. But it attaches to the base of any regular dildo to provide that same kind of cushion. Keem's learning more than he ever needed to know about dildos right now.
Always, though.
Yes. When you're talking about harnesses, I've said harnesses several times. There's a gajillion of them out there at all sorts of different price points. The main styles that they have are either going to be jockstrap style ones that have a loop that goes around each leg, or thong style, which I personally hate, which it's right there in the name, or you can find brief style ones. Depending on what you like. Brief style ones are, in my opinion, the most comfortable, but they're also not super stable. They kind of allow for a lot of the dildo moving around in ways that you might not necessarily want it to. I usually go with a jockstrap style one because it's very, very stable. Also, the one that I have, I got the Tantus vibrating velvet one, which is the cheapest one that Tantus makes. And then I took the velvet back off of it, and I just use it with the nylon strap and the ring, and that makes it work really, really nicely with my my strapless, quote unquote strapless strap on. Works really, really well with that. So that is able to hold that in place. So just, I don't know. There's a few that are not terribly expensive. Sports Sheets makes some, although I hate that company, but makes some that are not terribly expensive that you can play around with. Like I said, the Tantus vibrating velvet one is good. I like that one, and it's also not very expensive. I think that one was it was less than $30, I think. And then Spare Parts. Oh no, not Spare Parts. Spare Parts makes really great stuff, but they're kind of pricey. I'm trying to think of the one. Packer Gear. Packer Gear is the one that I got. They make a variety of different brief style ones. They have like a regular brief style. They've got like a boxer brief style. They have a boy short style one, but that are also very reasonably priced. So those are going to be your options. Although there are many options out there. There's fancy leather harnesses. Aslan, I've heard great things about. It's on my list of things to buy. As an Aslan leather harness. Leather harnesses. Sorry, I'm back. So Aslan Leather makes really good stuff. There's a whole bunch of different companies out there making really high quality leather things. Spare Parts, like I said, has a whole variety of different styles at mostly a little bit higher price point, but by all accounts, it's worth it to save up if it's something that you know you're committed to using regularly. They make fabric ones in a variety of. They have some jockstrap style ones. They have some brief style ones, but very good quality by all reports. But yeah, Google it. There's a million different companies out there making stuff in dozens of different styles. You can get really, really pretty femme ones. You can get really, really masculine ones. Like there is a million different kinds of harnesses out there. And like I said, basically any dildo that you're going to buy that's got a base on it, like a traditional style dildo, is going to work with some kind of harness. You might have to get rings, different sized rings, depending on whether you're using very small, very thin dildos designed for beginners anal sex, or for those size fans out there, you can get really big O-rings designed for those really, really big dildos. Those are options too. Less commonly known though. So far I've discussed like traditional, like around the hips harnesses. There's a few other kinds of harnesses. Did you know that, Keem?
I did not.
There's a few other kinds of harnesses that are less common, less commonly known, that are on my list of things to try. So I can't recommend any specifics on any of these, but you can get harnesses that are designed to go around the thigh of the person doing the penetrating, which can be really, really helpful for that can be like a power play kind of thing, or it can also be really helpful if you're dealing with different kinds of mobility issues, or different like there's a lot of different issues that can be dealt with by using a thigh harness instead of a traditional hip harness. They exist. There's not a ton of them out there. Or I have heard reports that you can make your own with rope, which is on my list of things to try. You can also make a regular hip harness with rope, which I have tried, and it did not work out very well for me, but I think that I just need more practice. So, cause you know me, I like to do all the things with rope. But so there are thigh harnesses. There are any number of harnesses where you can strap them onto different parts of your body. There are face harnesses, which effectively doubles as a gag. Also, it's a harness that covers the lower half of the face, which of course is great for various kinds of power dynamic play, dominance and submission, as well as if you're into like humiliation and stuff. There's all kinds of stuff like that. What else? Oh, there are some that are out there on the market that are specifically designed for dual penetration. You can either get some, I know that Aslan Leather makes one, several other companies make one too, that accommodate two different dildos, or there are some that are out there on the market that are designed to accommodate a biological penis and a dildo, to where you can do different, like you can do dual penetration in various combinations. Another less common way to use strap-on is you can use it with a hollow dildo or a penis extender, to wear over a penis, which gets into like denial of sensation. It gets into orgasm control. It gets into dominance and submission, to where, and is also a way to extend sex beyond beyond a person's ability to maintain an erection, which can help with ED. It can help with people who orgasm very early and then lose their erection, but want to continue to have penetrative sex with their partner. There's all sorts of different things that you can do with it. So, Keem, questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. I mentioned the word pegging earlier. For those, I'm not going to go too much into detail with it right now because anal sex is something that's on my list of things to talk about in the future. But pegging, for those of you who don't know, is a term that was coined by Dan Savage a handful of years ago to refer specifically to the act of a cis woman strapping on a dildo and penetrating a cis male partner. That's usually what it refers to, right? I know a lot of people who are like genderqueer or non-conforming in some way, who really, including myself, who really hate the term pegging because of the heavy implication of like cisgenderness, right? It's very much heavily implied that it's a cis woman penetrating a cis man, which can feel icky to people with who are non-conforming or non-binary or trans or what have you. But it is a specific term that refers to a specific sex act. So that's a thing also. But yeah, you can use strap-ons vaginally. You can strap-ons anally. I personally really, really like getting a blowjob. Ooh, yeah. Sorry, I keep getting distracted thinking about sex.
I don't know if our listeners can picture it, but basically Esme just did the Homer Simpson thing that he does with donuts, just like drooling that. That's basically what just happened there.
Nah, I squint more.
Good Lord.
It's a shame I can't take a picture of my face and show it to our listeners, because I would totally show off my distracted by sex phase.
I did have a question.
Yes.
So I encountered very randomly what was a harness and dildo, like the whole setup.
Uh-huh.
But it also had like a little pouch that was supposed to simulate ejaculation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so there's a handful of those on the market, right?
Yeah, right.
So did you have a question, though?
I was just asking, like, could you tell me about that? And let me say this: when I say I encountered it, my work puts me into some very strange places. It did. So I encountered some crazy things, but like, I just want some information on like not for like personally, but I was just thinking, like, when I saw it, I was like, how does that work?
So there's a couple of different companies who do different things with it right now. So right now, so first off, like, why would something like that exist? Number one is that, like, ejaculation is something that's fetishized pretty often, right? There's like loads and loads of like cum shot porn. It's a whole thing.
Loads and loads.
You're welcome.
Really?
You're welcome. There's an enormous quantity of cum shot porn, right? Like cream pies, bukkake, which
shout out to Peter North.
Sorry, I weirdly sometimes dislike come. It's a thing. I don't know why. It's a weird thing. I'm getting a lot better about it recently, like in the last couple of years. I don't know. Anyway. But a lot of people are really into it as a visual thing, as a power play thing, right? Like that plays into those like humiliation fantasies of being used in that kind of way. And that's not exclusive to cis dudes or AMAB people who have penises that can ejaculate, right? Like this is not something that's exclusive to those people, right? There is nothing preventing an AFAB person from wanting to experience that kind of experience, right? To have that visual of like ejaculating on somebody's face or on somebody's body, or what have you. There's no, like, that's part of why that exists. There's also a little bit more specific of a thing, and it requires more specific kinds of equipment, right? There are several companies out there that are making equipment specifically to do this, which is for couples who are doing artificial insemination, to be able to actually to be able to actually incorporate that into their actual sex, right? There's a company called Semenet, I think that has a setup specifically that like is a sterile setup to where they can load like the actual semen from it for artificial insemination into it. And then the penetrating partner can actually like use that to inseminate their partner. So there's a handful of different reasons for it. There's a few different companies who are doing things like that. It's especially powerful for trans people, right? For trans men who want to be able to have that a natural experience, right? To be able to actually ejaculate. That's extremely psychologically powerful. It's such a part of the sex experience for men, for cis men, that it's natural for a trans man to want to be able to participate in that too, to have that. But yeah, so there's lots of different ways that can happen. There's a handful of different companies who are doing stuff like that. Like I said, Semenet has one. Their new one is they partnered with Fun Factory to do their latest one, but they've been making those for a while. Bad Dragon apparently has a very good setup for like dildos that ejaculate. They apparently have very good technology. They have very realistic looking like cum lube. It's a whole thing.
I was gonna ask two things. One, I've been hearing a lot about Bad Dragon lately.
Yes,
for
you have.
Whatever reason.
Is it because you know people who like Bad Dragon?
I think so.
Yeah.
But also, I was curious as to how, like, is there some kind of like pump or like what makes it, sploosh?
Squeeze bulb, usually.
Squeezable?
Squeeze bulb. Like kind of like the bulb that you see on the blood pressure cuff at the doctor's office.
Like a blood pressure cuff.
Yeah, kind of like that. Except instead of being connected to like an internal system of air bladders, it is connected to. It is filled with either cum lube or actual sperm, semen.
So okay. Question two: how do you squeeze it? Like,
if I know. You're asking me like I've ever used one before.
Well,
I don't know.
You're the knowledgeable one. You've done the research, because I was just wondering, like, would you have to like stop and like, or like, and then I imagine like, could there be like a pump, like sort of where you could just like it, like a yeah.
I mean, some kind of electronic pump seems like it would be unnecessarily loud. As far as I know, there's like you can just hook it in a reachable place, and then at some point, like, just squeeze it. I don't know. I've never used one. I say that indignantly. No, I've never used one of those, partly because I don't have any I don't have any super powerful
Urges to
yeah, I don't have any super.
ejaculate on someone.
Yeah, I don't. I'm like I said, I'm
Or
a little
in
squicked out.
someone.
I'm a little squicked out by cum anyway. In most cases, although I've been getting better about it, I don't really feel like that's something that I'm particularly missing out on by not being able to ejaculate on or in someone. So I'm not going to pay the extra money for the fancy ejaculating dildo. That's me. I know that there are a lot of people in this world who do feel like that's an important thing for them, and in which case we should probably talk to one of them about how what the logistics of ejaculating that way are. But I am not one of those people.
Well, unfortunately, I know one person, and I cannot go speak to this person. So,
Oh,
sorry.
but yeah. So strap-on sex, it's a good thing. I love strap-on sex.
It's from what I've heard. I have not participated in such variations of sex.
Yeah. And I will say, as someone who does here, now you're getting your daily dose of my very personal sex life. As somebody who does participate in not a lot of explicitly DS like dynamics, but sort of falls on the dominant side of some like minor power play type things. Like having that option and being able to strapping it on and being the penetrative partner, being the active partner, being that's a very powerful mental space, right? Not to say that being the penetrative partner always goes along with being the dominant partner, because that is not at all true, but it can be, especially for an AFAB person like myself, can be a really powerful way to access that space, like to use the cultural script of quote unquote men as dominant to like men are dominant, men are the active partners, men are the penetrative partners, men and being a receptive partner means submitting to that penetration in this cultural script that we have. That can be like being able to strap on and be the penetrative partner is a way to access a more dominant role in a partnership, in a sexual encounter. That's one of the reasons that I find it so powerful, to the point where like it's extreme. Like I get extremely turned on even just wearing a strap on. I have not yet like orgasmed from penetration or from penetrating a partner without any sort of other stimulation. But it's extreme, but I've gotten close. It's extremely like mentally stimulating for me. Because of the way that it allows me to access that headspace, that dominant role in particular encounter. So there's your peek into my sex life. For those of you who listen to this because you're super curious about the ways that I have sex.
It's always hilarious when you give a peek into your sex life, because it also lets people get a peek into my sex life. I
have never strapped on anything for you.
I know. And there are reasons for that. Reasons we will not go into right now, but we may go into on another show.
Yay.
But yes.
In any case.
But I digress. There you go.
Yes. There's your phrase. All right. What else? Anything else?
I think that was it.
Cool.
It was just my not confusion, but curiosity as to how those rigs worked.
Yeah, and I am not 100% sure, like how the logistics of that goes down in practice, because I've never used one. So,
like, okay, yeah. All right, is that it?
I think that's it.
Well, I guess looks like that brings us to the end of our show for the week.
Yay! I'm in a much better mood than I was when we started talking about some
I'm
stuff.
glad. We went from anger to more anger to
Sex.
talking about sex.
That's why we put the sex segment last.
It's also that's generally our relationship.
Yes. We're angry, and then we're more angry, and then sex.
Yep. Just a peek. That poly life, though.
Yes. Anyway.
That brings us to the end of our show. We are glad to be back after this week off. We're going to be bringing you some hopefully very interesting shows in the near future, especially with my change of scenery. Hopefully I'll get out of my apartment and do stuff that I can bring to the show. And trying to think of what else. As always, news links will be in the description. If Esme has any links for the sex segment, they will also probably be in the description.
Yep.
As I said in the topic segment, and once again, I while we do need promotion because we are trying to get off the ground as a podcast, this episode in particular, please share this. Because I feel like our topic segment needs to be heard. And so, if you get this, please share it. Also, as we say every week, we are looking for more artists, more bands to feature on the show. Memphis area, of course, now adding on to the Brooklyn, New York area. If we have any listeners here, hopefully we'll be getting some more listeners in this area soon and in the rest of the world soon. But if you are in a band or know people in a band who would like to get their music out there, who are up and coming, who just have some good music, please let us know. We will feature your music. Hey, we might even we'd also love to have you on the show to talk about your music, talk about something you're passionate about. So please, musicians, get in touch with us. Let us know. We want to have you on. We really, really want to have you on. Also, invitation to anyone. If you have something you want to talk about, you want to yell about, you want to be angry about, hell, if it's something like sexual you want to talk about, doesn't have to be politics, doesn't whatever. If it's something you want to talk about and you're passionate about it, you want to yell, you want to talk shit, you want to punch a Nazi. Okay, I added that last one in. But if you have something to say, I offer you the invitation to come on our show and say it. This is the Out of Voices podcast. We want you to get your voice out. It's what we do.
Yep.
Like I said, for those who've listened to us, we talk about everything from neo-Nazis and Strap Ons to Christian transhumanism. So, please, if you'd like to be on a show, you think it might be a fun experience, you got something to say, let us know. We'll have you on. We love having people on. We love guests. And we've made friends with a lot of our guests that we didn't have before. So
that is true.
You open invitation. Just contact us, and we'll work it out. Anything else, Esme?
No, I think we're good.
Well, this is the end of our show. As always, this is Keem, all the way from Brooklyn, New York.
Woo!
And Esmeralda the Apollo from Memphis, Tennessee.
You did it again!
I did it on purpose.
Ugh. So annoying.
Say goodbye to our listeners, please.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Love you guys. Bye.
And we are Ouch.
But there are these things that matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.